Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another live. Chelsea, the launch copy coach here. And today we are going live to talk about and bust the myth that you have to sacrifice self-care to get 50 to 100K launch results, because you don't. Okay? You do not have to sacrifice self-care to get 50 to 100K group program launch results. So if you are a one-on-one coach who is launching a group program, especially if you're looking to launch in Q1 of 2023, and you are used to and have the thought in the back of your mind that you're going to have to just do more to get the results that you want, you're going to have to put your whole life on hold. You're going to probably end up sacrificing some sleep, some self-care, and that's just the way it has to be. No, it doesn't. And this live is for you. All right. If this is the first time that you are meeting me, I help one-on-one coaches like you to replicate their six-figure success with a group program launch without losing their minds. And so today I want to talk about why you don't have to sacrifice these things, why you don't have to give up these things, why you don't have to lose your mind in order to launch and in order to launch and get 50 to 100K group program launch results. All right. So first things first, why do we tend to think that we have to do more? Why do we tend to think that we have to sacrifice these things in order to have these kinds of results? Well, the answer to this question is actually quite simple. And whether or not you recognize it, this thought process is probably sitting in the back of your mind somewhere, right? Because when your launch plays out, you find yourself sacrificing these things. You find yourself giving these things up. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is pretty simple. It's because that's just the way it is in our industry. In the launching space, in the course creation, coaching program creation, online marketing, and sales space, this is just the way it is. We just naturally believe that we have to work harder to get more. We have to sacrifice our well being to achieve more because this is the culture. Hustle, grind, this is what we do. Okay? And so this is why in the back of our minds we end up in a situation where this is just the norm. This is just what we believe. And even the coaches and course creators and experts and gurus that we look up to that tell us that you can do less and create more, they're talking the talk, they're not walking the walk, because they get burned out too. Yeah. Because they end up taking these long breaks from their business, and not saying that they shouldn't, because if you are like burnt out or if you're on the verge of burnout, you need a break. But I'm saying they say to do less, but they don't actually do less. And so you see them burning out. You see them either like coming back from a long break to say, you know, guys, actually, I burned out and I hated my business, or I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was hitting my revenue goals, but I hated my entire business and just wanted to rip the whole thing apart. You see them saying these things all the time, right? So it's easy. It's easy to think that, oh, this is just what I have to do because this is what we see everybody else doing. We see people getting stressed. We see people getting overwhelmed. We see people getting burnt out, tired, giving up their lives, like relationships suffering, and just the richness and the blessing of their lives being lost because they're running after specific launch goals or because they're running after specific business revenue goals. And so it's just, this is just the way it is. And so, of course, we think that this is the way it has to be, right? And the belief that's in the back of our mind is this is just the way it goes. This is just the way it is. This is just what I have to do. This is just, if I want these results, this is the way it has to be. And I want to tell you today that it does not. From my own personal experience and from my experience with my clients, I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart today, y'all, it doesn't have to be this way. Okay? You do not have to sacrifice your self-care. You do not have to sacrifice your sanity, your rest, your peace, your time with loved ones, the things that fill you up. You do not have to sacrifice those things in order to create 50 to 100K in a group program launch. You just don't. Okay? And it's a shift that has to happen for you. It's a shift that has to go from this is just the way it is, I have to sacrifice these things, to no, I get to define what I put into this launch. I get to define what this launch feels like. I get to define what this launch experience is like for me, and nobody else gets to have a say over that. Okay? The industry doesn't get to have a say. My coach doesn't get to have a say. Hey, thanks for joining me live, friend. The industry doesn't get to have a say. My coach doesn't get to have a say. My friends don't get to have a say. My business besties don't get to have a say. I am the only one who gets to have a say over what my launch feels like and over what success looks like for me, because we fall into this trap, y'all. And you can let me know in the comments if you've ever fallen into this trap, because I have, my clients have, and I'm going to kind of tell you the story of how that unfolded, right? Like, fall into this trap of thinking that success is only the revenue goal. That is it, right? And that's what we run hard after, to the exclusion and the sacrifice of everything else. Because again, this is just what the industry tells us to do. And it does not have to be that way. You get to define that. It's a mindset shift that you have to make happen for yourself, from this is just the way it is, and the way it has to be. If I want this result, this is just what I have to do, to no, I define my launch success as feeling good, as sleeping in late every single day of my launch, as really enjoying my launch process, spa days every week, as like, these are the things that I define my own success as. And so if that shift happens for you, then you get to live that out. And I see your question. I'm going to answer at the end of the live. Don't worry. Right? You get to live that out if you make that shift for yourself, and if you have somebody to hold you accountable to that shift. Because here's the thing, we can also totally set our intention for this being the way that we want our launches to be, and then end up not living by that intention. Because as I talked about in a live that I did on Monday, this is a habit. The hustle, the grind, the launch burnout cycle that we all engage in this industry, it's a habit. This is just what we do. And our physiological response has enabled us, like the dopamine rush that we get from the hustle and being productive, right, has enabled us to keep going this way. And so you having somebody to hold you accountable to that intention that you set, you setting that intention and defining that success for yourself, is key. And I'm telling you this from experience, y'all, because I worked with some of the teams that are behind the greatest experts in this industry, and we all burned ourselves out to get them results. We all killed ourselves. We wrung ourselves dry. I'm talking about the Amy Porterfields and the Marie Forleos of this industry. Those two women and others like them. I worked on the teams that supported these women every time they were launching, that supported these teams when they were launching, and we wrung ourselves dry to get them their results. And that was just not sustainable. Do you know how high the turnover was at my company that I was working at the agency I was working at? The turnover was ridiculous. Because we'd come in fresh and excited and then get burnt out from working for just like 3 to 6 months, and then be like, yo, I'm out because I can't do this no more. This ain't sustainable. And as much as I love this team and I appreciate this opportunity, I'm killing myself. Bye. So many people came and left because of that. And I saw it with my clients too. Once I left that agency and started working one-on-one with my launch clients, the same thing. Launch and then take like 3 months break from their business because they were just so burnt out. On Monday, I talked about my client who she literally ended up in the hospital. And so the status quo of launching in this industry has to change, but it starts with you, It starts with you deciding and owning for yourself what you want your launches to look like, and holding yourself, or having someone like a coach like myself hold you accountable to that, because this doesn't have to be this way. Okay? And it's really about you like taking ownership of this. It's really about you being the CEO of your launch, of your business, and saying, I'm the one who owns what success looks like for me. I'm the one who owns my choices. I get to decide. I get to define what this is. It's literally, and so many of us, like, when we have our own mindset shifts and then we look at the people around us who haven't had those same shifts, it becomes this feeling of like, shoot, I don't want to flaunt my success. I don't want to flaunt that, like, I'm in a quote unquote better place, or I've had this shift and they haven't. I don't want to show off. I don't want to let people know. Listen, or like, I don't want to leave anybody behind. I don't want my friends to feel bad because their launches suck and my launches are amazing. Listen, be the one that inspires. Be unashamed and unapologetic that you have decided to step into your CEO role in this way. Inspire people to do the same. This is the opportunity that you have. Imagine if your launches actually felt like celebrations of all the amazing work that you get to do with your clients, instead of draining, wringing yourself dry, sacrificing to get to some revenue result that you can't even enjoy anyway, because you just would rather sleep in your bed all day. Hey, Elizabeth, thanks for joining me, right? So this is the shift that can happen for you. You can be the one for yourself and for your other biz besties that actually begins to change the game of what launching can look like and what launching can feel like. And it goes beyond the revenue markers of success. It goes into you being the CEO, owning for yourself what that success looks like, and then walking that out, making that shift for yourself, breaking that habit for yourself, because it does not have to be that way. It can be spa days. It can be sleeping in. It can be eating your favorite food all the time, every day of your launch. It can be if you decide that you don't want sales calls, you don't got to do sales calls. It can be if you decide you don't want to do a webinar this time, you get to try that out. You get to define what this looks like and feels like for you. All right. So that's the myth that I wanted to bust today. We have a question over on Instagram, so I'm going to answer that. But if you have any thoughts around this, if you have any questions around this, if you're thinking, Chelsea, this sounds amazing, but it also sounds impossible. I'd love to talk with you about why this feels so impossible for you. All right. So DM me your questions, DM me your thoughts. Let me answer this question over on Instagram. So the question is, do you think you need to close doors on the pre-sale of your launch? It feels weird closing the doors, but at the same time, I want to create urgency. So there's a bunch of different ways to create urgency when you're going from pre-sale into the main doors open of your program, right? So one thing that you could do is, if the pre-sale price was a specific price that was lower than your regular price, you can return it to your normal price, right? So you don't have to say that doors are closing. You can just say the price is going back to the normal price that is typically at. Something else that you could do is speak to a specific event that's happening only for people who purchase in the pre-sale period. So if you have a specific kind of workshop, or if you have a kickoff call, or if you're offering one-on-one coaching slots only for people who purchase in the pre-sale period, whatever that special bonus is, you can say it's expiring after the pre-sale period is ended. So if they want to get in, they can get in on the pre-sale now. Something else that you can do is literally, so you have the price way of creating urgency, you have the bonus it's expiring way of creating urgency. You can also say that, the pre-sale, you could just say the pre-sale cohort is closing, right? So if this was a pre-sale before you officially launched your course, right? It wasn't necessarily your pre-launch period or your waitlist period. It was the pre-sale before you launched the course officially to everybody. You can just say that the pre-sale cohort doors are closing. You don't have to say the course doors are closing, because the course will still be available after this. But if they want to get in on the ground floor, get all the results, get ultimate access to you and all the perks of being in the pre-sale cohort, then that opportunity is closing. So if they want in, they can say yes, or if not, that's up to them, right? I hope that, does that answer your question? Let me know. And you were saying too, it's almost like you forget how to relax during launch mode. Absolutely. And it's more than just relaxing. It's taking care of yourself. It's actually enjoying your life. Like, people feel like launch mode is a death sentence in so many ways. Like, I've spoken to so many people who feel like once they think about launching, it just becomes this thing that stifles them. And it doesn't have to be that way. Okay? You get to live your life. Your life doesn't revolve around your launch. Your launch gets to adjust to the way that you want to live your life. Okay? So, glad I answered that question for you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you really begin to make this shift for yourself. I'm laughing because you said you're a nutritionist and you've literally forgotten to eat during a launch. Listen, you're not alone. You're not alone. I've had clients who've forgotten to shower, who forgot that they had dogs and pets that they wanted to, maybe get outside and have them, not pee all over the house. It's crazy. It's crazy, the basic things, the fullness of life and the basics of life that we forget to do and that we just put on the back burner when we're launching. And it just doesn't have to be that way, y'all. It really just does not have to be that way, okay? So thank you so much for joining me. If this resonated with you and you are thinking to yourself, okay, Chelsea, this sounds great, but how in the world do I actually do this? Do I not sacrifice my self-care and my sanity for these launch results and still get the launch results? Because I want the launch results, Chelsea. I want the launch results. I'm not just here just to feel good. I want the money too. I want the impact too. If that's you, go ahead and DM me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and we can talk about how we can make this a reality for you. And if you're on YouTube, there's a link in the description box that you can fill out and get on a call with me, and we can have a conversation, all right? Because what's possible for you is I have 2 spots remaining in my program, 6-Figure Synergy, for the rest of the year. And those spots are expiring soon. So I'm going to tell you more about 6-Figure Synergy on Friday morning when I come live. But basically, the program is designed to help you as a one-on-one coach transition to your group program, get that 50 to 100K launch result, and really create a launch you love along the way so you don't lose your mind trying to launch. Okay? So if that's you, if you are thinking, Chelsea, I want this feel-good launch, I want the result, let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can make this possible for you. We can talk about 6-Figure Synergy as well and see if that's a good fit. All right? I will see you in my DMs, y'all. Thank you so much for hopping on today, and we'll talk